Alright, ladies and gentlemen, and as promised, here is the Highlander moveset breakdown, and it's only a short one, but I thought I might as well, because his move list has been released, and it looks really, really fucking complicated. So I'll try and go through what I can, but yeah, let's get straight into it. So to start off, we've got his offensive form and defensive form. Now, just reading the hero-specific stuff, we know that, it's the same as what they said in the details. He can do all his blocking, parrying, and guard breaking in defensive form, and offensive, you can't do any of that, but you get unblockable attacks, so, nothing new there. Now, this was the bit I was wondering about, how he'll go between each form. Now, it says entering offensive form, you've got to hold the right trick, so hold heavy attack, and you've got to continue to hold it to remain in offensive form. Now, this is really weird for me. I mean, I don't quite understand it, but it's very unique, and I like that. I think this character is going to have a lot of potential, just because of how unique he is in the idea of he can go from one or the other on a dime, pretty much, by the look of it. And so, from his offensive form, releasing right trigger will be your unblockable attack, your big heavy unblockable attack that should do a shit ton of damage. Which makes sense because, well, it's a pretty big sword. But anyway, so this is interesting because you can go from light into unblockable, which is good, which is really ridiculous because think of Shigoki's lights, right? Because it says later on, I'm slightly jumping the gun here, that while in offensive form, Highlander has enhanced lights, and that means that when you hit someone with a light attack, it has the same effect as a heavy attack, and it will, knock them back slightly. But, yeah, so they can't interrupt it, and that means you can go from light into unblockable, or just straight up unblockable, which is a mix-up in itself, but he's also got a ton of other stuff that I'll get into later, but he's got lots of grabs, lots of kicks. I'm picturing, Centurion kicks and stuff like that, and he's got a caber toss. I have no idea what that is, but I'll try my best. Anyway, so while attacking in offensive form, you can still launch special attacks. So that still means you hold the heavy, but you can still do your lights and your throws and your kicks and all that sort of stuff that's in the move list. So let's start getting into his moves. Now, he's got a simple light, heavy string, which is good for mix-up. I mean, it works for... because you can do the trick of unlock text, so you can hit them with one light, look away, and then come back and hit them with the heavy, which usually catches out a lot of people. But yeah, so there's that option, it's pretty straightforward, but it's good. So I don't think you can do these. Well, it says in defensive form, so you can't really do these in offense, because if these lights acted like heavies, that would be ridiculously OP. But yeah, he's also got lowland slashes, so he can go from light into heavy, which is another standard character thing. So he gets the lots of feint options of hitting someone with a light, and either hitting them with another light, or feinting and hitting from another side with a light, that sort of stuff, Simple. And then he's got Banshee's Wail. Now this is a heavy string, which is always good for mix-up, because you just look at Raider, who has heavy, he can hit from the side, then go for another heavy and cancel it, and all that sort of stuff. So it's a mind game in itself where you go for heavy or light to start your chain, which is very handy. And yeah, there's one thing that's really interesting to me. It's the Celtic Curse, which is in defensive form. Now, this is a dashing move, so obviously, most characters have their move where they dash forward and do heavy, and it has some sort of property. So this one has hyper armor, like most of them do. But what's really interesting is later down the line it says you can actually cancel this heavy into a side light from either side, and from that get some other crazy stuff, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So, obviously they've got the entering offensive form, which is, we know how to do that, and we've got Balor's Might, which is just his heavy swing. So I'm assuming you can do that from any side you're attacking from, which would make sense. So that's just a standard Shigoki style unblockable. Now, his caber toss is interesting because I have no idea what to expect, because you've got to move backwards and guard break at the same time, which is easy, but I'm assuming it's just gonna, I don't know, I want to say grab their legs or something like that, because caber tossing is when they throw the giant logs as far as they can, sort of thing. So I'm picturing like grabbing their legs and then tossing them up in the air as far as they can, that sort of thing. Maybe get a, after the caber toss, get a guaranteed. I think it's either going to do a shit ton of stamina damage, or you're going to get a guaranteed heavy afterwards. You're going to get some guaranteed damage, at least, to something. So, right, so after that, we get into the next page, which is the, second bit. So he's got a sprint attack. Now, this sprint attack, I think it's shown in his trailer where he's bashing about the warden. I think that is his zone attack. So, well, I mean, not zone attack, but... So his sprint attack is probably very much like Shigoki's, where, his zone is bash from one side, bash to the other, and he can cancel it. I think his sprint attack is going to be the same. So you charge at them, you bash them with one side, you can cancel it, or bash them from the other. So... that's very Shigoki-esque. He's kind of reminded me a lot of him so far, which, I mean, I like the Shigoki, I just never picked him up, but, this is my sort of style, really. Now, offensive form special cancels. This is what I was talking about before, where he's got his ability to cancel, anything in his offensive form into these moves. So, it looks like he's got the Fomorian kick, which is the thing I just picture in my head as Centurion-style kick. He's got his caber toss, which I have no idea, and he's got his kick, which can be cancelled into caber toss. Now, I don't know if you can. I hope you can, because this would be really interesting. I mean, probably just really weird to watch as well. It's just, if you can cancel his offensive form, cancel his unblockable heavy into the kick, and then cancel into the caber toss, which would be just insane. It's like a triple mix-up, because you either get hit by the heavy, you either get hit by the kick, or you get grabbed by the caber toss, and it's just, I think that would be some really fucked up shit if you can, like, cancel into all three of them all at once. That would be crazy, but I love the idea of it. Now, this is the part I was talking about earlier, the Celtic Curse cancels. So, well, that's good alliteration there. Now, so this says that his Celtic Curse move is the one where you dash forward and do a heavy, which has hyper armor and all that sort of stuff. Now, it says that you can actually cancel this move, this heavy, into an attack from the side. So you can cancel it with a light attack from the, left, or a light attack from the right, just by, moving in that direction and attacking, which is really weird, because he can cancel his hyper armor into more hyper armor just from different sides, and those are light, so they'll come out much quicker, which is... He's the only character with hyper armor lights, I'm pretty sure. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but Shigoki's the only one who can trump that, I think, and, that's Shigoki, so it makes sense. But yeah, so he's got hyper armor lights, which is ridiculously interesting. Now, I think from this bit here where it says, Celtic Curse Chain Starters... Oh, Celtic Curse Chain Starter, yeah. The side versions it can cancel and can be used to initiate chains. Now, it says in the next part as well, which is I'll get into, but it says that you can fast flow into offensive form, and that means that from this light, so this dodging light attack, you can, with hyper armor, you can also get into offensive form, which means you can go into the unblockable, or you can go into the caber toss or the kick or anything like that. So it's super mix-up heavy, which is great, because it's going to be like Raider mix-up times Cancer, which is, fun to play. But anyway, so getting into his moves again. Now he's got the Fomorian kick, which is the bit I said, the Centurion kick, and he's also got the enhanced lights, which I spoke about, which is where you hit him from the side, you just hit him with a light, and it has the same effect as a heavy, so it's uninterruptible unless you parry it. And he's also got the offensive form emote, which is very... I mean, does he have an extra slot for emoting then, where he's in offensive form, or is just this one thing that he gets? I mean, interesting, sure, why not? I think they should have kept that out of the move list, though. I think that would have been interesting for people to find. And, of course, he's got his sprint attack, which is... what I spoke about before. Now, getting into his last bit, it's just the rest of his character, hero-specific stuff. So he's got the fast form into offensive form, which is what I spoke about, where he can, after a parry, after a guard break throw, or after any attack that starts off a chain, so a heavy or a light or Celtic thing heavy or whatever, it starts. He can go straight into offensive form from that, which means, so you thought his mix-up was bad, where he could go heavy and then heavy again, or then cancel it or anything like that. He can go heavy, offensive form, unblockable, cancel the unblockable into a kick or a caber toss, or cancel that into a offensive light and then a heavy. The ideas going through my head of what you can do with this guy are ridiculous. Like, they seem so. I think this is probably going to be one of the most complex mix-up characters, because most characters like assassins and all that stuff, it's fairly straightforward. You just light from certain sides, and then you go light and then cancel your heavy into guard break or another light. That's simple. That's child's play. This guy, he can go light from one side, go into a heavy, cancel that into an unblockable, and cancel that unblockable into a kick or a throw or a toss or whatever. I'm so excited for it. And so the next bit, it talks about the offensive form enhanced light attacks, which, they can use. The light attacks can be used to cancel offensive form. Can be used to cancel offensive form unblockable heavy. So that means you can unblockable heavy, and I think that means you can probably go, while going in that heavy, you can go from the other side and hit with a light, which, an enhanced light, which will keep you in offensive form, so you can do it again. So it's, even more mix-ups on this guy. And in defensive form, all his heavy attacks have, hyper armor. Well, super armor, it says here, but I always call it hyper armor. But so that's just like Warlord. So good thing I was practicing him, because at least I'll have some inkling on how to deal with the timings. Now, all of this together, to me, puts like the most complex character in this game from the sounds of it, which I think will make him probably one of the most rewarding and fun characters to play as well. So, I don't know, but I think I may have found my new main, or at least a secondary main. I can never give up Conqueror, but like this guy, all of his stuff makes me so excited to see him in action. Now, so when they release when they're doing the stream and they show off the full moveset, I'll probably record that, and just to verify my stuff, I'll probably give a live reaction type dealio. And so I'll get to you with that. Sorry this video was kind of little, but I thought it was just interesting to see the Highlanders moves, because they were so badass. But anyway, thank you all guys for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!